I'll bet you like Cuban food. I know this sick place in Cuba. I'm gonna disembowel you, Barry.
Written by Geoff Johns, Ivan Reis, and Paul Pelletier, the Throne of Atlantis comic strip starting with Aquaman Volume 7, number 14, and ending with Justice League Volume 2, number 17, has been adapted to the screen in the DC AMU as the Justice League Throne of Atlantis movie. Directed by Ethan Spalding and coming out in 2015, this movie is one of the movies that is in the New 52 continuity that tells this very great story of what happens after the Flashpoint Paradox movie and the ramifications of Barry's misadventures in that Flashpoint timeline. A direct sequel to this movie is the Justice League vs. Teen Titans movie, which is the first movie that truly introduces the Teen Titans into the DC AMU. With Matt Lanter as Aquaman and Sumali Montano as Mira, Sam Witwer as Orm and Serena Irwin as Queen Atlanna, and finally, Harry Lennox as Black Manta. The Atlanteans get into quite a squabble between themselves and the surface dwellers, with Shamar Moore as Cyborg, Jerry O'Connell as Superman, Christopher Gorham as Flash, Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, which is one of the greatest voice acting as Green Lantern I have ever heard, and a lot of DC fans will tell you the same, Zario Dawson as Wonder Woman, and Sean Austin as Shazam. And finally, Jason O'Mara as Batman. We have the Justice League getting involved in the Atlantean Kingdom affairs, which unfortunately came about because in the beginning of the movie, we had some Navy servicemen who met their demise at the hands of Atlanteans. It turns into this big squabble because, of course, Orm, or Oceanmaster, is upset because Aquaman is a bridge between both worlds, both the land and the sea, because Queen Atlanna had relations with a surface dweller. Aquaman, Arthur Curry, is slated to be kind of the chosen one, to bring the best of both worlds together, or just to bring both worlds together. This whole movie and the comic strip is part of a core crossover event between the Atlanteans, Aquaman, and the Justice League themselves. So the core stories come from both Aquaman Volume 7 and Justice League Volume 2 in the comics, and with Volume 7 from Aquaman, it's numbers 15 and 16, and from the Justice League Volume 2, it's number 15 and 16 as well. Ending with, as I said in the beginning of the video, Justice League Volume 2, number 17. Orm says something specific in the movie that I think is truly important. Orm has a very powerful quote, and it states, "They kill our race and pollute our oceans." That is so pivotal to this whole story and just life in general. We as human beings, yes, we are polluting the oceans, like having all of these technological advancements and cutting down the trees and making new buildings and making new lands instead of just keeping nature preserved and not really messing with wildlife or sea life. We are polluting the oceans. Yes, you could say that we are killing the race of fish because that's what's happening. The garbage and waste that we're putting into the oceans is killing the race of fish. Orm is so upset because his half-brother, Aquaman, is the one who is technically supposed to be on the throne, but Orm wants the throne for himself. So he, in his own right and his own psychotic way, causes issues with Harry Lennox's Black Manta. He causes issues with him so that everybody in Atlantis can see that the surface world is trying to attack them. So Orm orchestrates all of this. So technically he, an Atlantean, is attacking his own people and blaming it on the surface world. Orm just has a hatred for the surface world, so he wants to bring war to the surface world so that Atlantis can rule like it once did before. What I pulled away from this movie was mainly just like the hatred, blind hatred, unnecessary hatred, and just manipulation, because all of the people at Atlantis, the regular citizens, warriors who fought alongside Queen Atlanna, served her before Orm killed her in her own chambers, they all assumed that the surface dwellers killed Queen Atlanna because Orm said so, even though he was the one that killed them, but nobody else was in the room besides Orm and the Justice League. That was, at the end of the movie, you see that kind of turned around to bite him in the butt because Cyborg records everything whether he wants to or not because he's a cyborg of advanced technology. People will follow blindly and listen to anything if you get them hyped up enough or if you work on their emotions, because Atlantis loved their queen, they love their area, and they know that they have to stay hidden because the surface world might respond differently if they found them. Anything that happens at all, they will believe. So of course they believed Orm. The queen was dead and Orm acted, you know, upset, so of course they believed it. Of course they believed that the surface world killed Queen Atlanta. So that's why they went to war. You see at the end that the soldiers were like, the hell you talk? What? Orm, you told us that the surface world did it, but here's footage of you saying that you drove through the knife through her yourself as she kneeled for peace. Like, what's wrong with you? People blindly hate for no reason other than somebody telling them, I hate this. You should too. That's just sad, and that's just stupid in my opinion. Like, we should form our own opinions. Just like in the movie, people needed to form their own opinions. By the end, obviously, they had no choice but to form their own opinion because they saw the footage. So they can either continue to follow this crazy man who killed their queen and said it was the surface dwellers, or they could take up arms against him. So thank you guys for joining me in this rant, review, and just an analysis of this movie. I have a blast talking about anything DC, and I just love DC, and I can admit when things are either good or bad, and I love this continuity because it was just different. Followed certain comic storylines from the New 52 DC Rebirth, and it's just great to talk about DC, man. I love it. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you can get a notification anytime there's a new video. Thanks again for watching, guys. Until the next one.